In this comparative study, I will be comparing Wes Craven's Scream from 1996, made in the US, as well as Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023, also made in the US. These films carry on a message of feminism, which is seen throughout the entire Scream film series. I will be focusing on the evolution of feminist film theory present in these two films through the use of cinematography and character tropes, answering the question, to what extent did Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023 evolve the ideas of feminist film theory shown in Wes Craven's Scream from 1996? Feminist film theory is a theory that mainly focuses or critiques the representations of female bodies, sexuality, and femininity on screen while posing questions concerning identity, desire, and the politics of spectatorship, among other topics. And that was quoted from Gabrielle Stecker in 2023. As for its background, feminist film theory had begun due to the second wave of feminism, which was occurring during the early 1960s in the US, and was quoted as taking inspiration from the burgeoning of second wave feminism. As for the starting point of feminist film theory, it is quoted from Annika Semelik. Feminist film theory came into being in the early 1970s with the aim of understanding cinema as a cultural practice that represents and reproduces myths about women and femininity. For my justification, feminist film theory has the purpose of showing the representations of women seen in both of these films. Both time periods are different due to how there had been a more active wave of feminism occurring during the 1990s. The reason I chose these films is because of the message of feminism that had carried on and evolved between the films, and the cultural context that will be used will be both historical and political cultural context. The representation of women is an aspect of feminist film theory that is seen in Wes Craven's Scream from 1996 that has been evolved to a great extent when analyzing Bettinelli Open and Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023. One way we can see this is through the use of character tropes that the women in these films are seen playing. In Scream from 1996, we see that the characters the women play are more vulnerable types of characters. Characters such as Sidney Prescott play the role of the final girl are seen as being vulnerable at times and are having to be protected by a male authority figure. The final girl trope is stated by Kira Kadar as being the female protagonist who manages to survive against all odds and defeats the movie's monster. Although Sidney Prescott does manage to survive throughout the film, she has done so with the help of the male authority figure. The cinematography of this film, such as the scene being shown on screen, is able to demonstrate how the women in this film are made out to be vulnerable. Courtney Cox's character, Gail Weathers, appears to be smaller than David Arquette's character, Dewey Riley. This demonstrates a power dynamic in which the male character could be seen as having more power than the female character. David Arquette's character is a male authority figure that in a way undermines the power of the female characters in this film. This point can be connected back to the historical context and how the third wave of feminism that occurred during the 1990s created conditions of freedom, equality, and justice. Although there was much more freedom and equality in society during this time, any roles that were given to women were stated as being very far from empowered. It also relates to the political context due to how there was a growing political power and equality that women were gaining during the 1990s, which was still extremely limited and mostly not accepted by society. This aspect of representation of women has greatly evolved in Scream 6 from 2023 through the use of character tropes. In this film, we see that the characters such as the final girls as well as the support characters mainly consist of women. The character trope of the authority figure has also been seen as being changed from a male character to a female character. An article that was written by Faith Green in 2023 also mentions how the majority of the Scream 6 cast is comprised of women, mostly women of color. The two main final girls in this film have also become less vulnerable and rely on themselves as well as each other while trying to survive against the killer. Much of the cinematography throughout the film places the female characters in the center of the frame, showing that these characters, especially the final girls in this film, have become much more important than the male characters. The subversion of gender roles is another aspect of feminist film theory that is present in Craven's Scream from 1996 and is seen to have greatly evolved when analyzing Bettinelli Open and Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023. One way this can be observed is through the character tropes that the women play. There are traditional gender roles that are seen in 1996's Scream, in which the masculine roles, such as the antagonist or monster figure, are upheld by a male or a masculinized female, whereas the women are more than often the victims of highly sexualized violence, stated in an article by Ariana Stewart. The final girl trope that Sidney Prescott embodies in this film does seem to challenge gender norms by showing signs of resilience as well as survival instincts that are typically associated with male protagonists. Although she does showcase these types of behaviors, she can still be seen as a victim that is protected by the male authority figure in this film. The cinematography in Scream from 1996 is often able to emphasize the vulnerability of the female characters, often being seen as emotional and in peril. The following scene will display how the female characters are seen as being emotional and play the role of victims rather than being stronger characters.
Is it? Billy, I was attacked and nearly filleted last night.
The use of close-up shots allows for an accentuation of different negative emotions experienced by the female characters, which further reinforces the traditional gender roles that are seen in this film and others like it. This point connects back to the historical context by showing how, although there were great strives towards equality between men and women through the events such as the third wave of feminism, the new changes of things such as gender roles had to be accepted and were not fully accepted until a short time after. It also connects with the political context similarly to the first point, in which there had been power that was gained by women and gender roles of women were slowly becoming empowered, but these changes had still not yet been realized by the rest of society. This aspect of gender role subversion is greatly shown through the character tropes that are seen in Bettinelli Open and Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023. 2023 Scream 6 is able to effectively push the boundaries of gender roles and norms by presenting an extremely diverse cast of characters which defy stereotypes often seen with the characters each of the women play. Many of the female characters, such as Jenna Ortega's character Tara Carpenter and Melissa Barrera's character Samantha Carpenter, are seen exhibiting many different behaviors such as great strength and intelligence, which are usually exhibited by male protagonists, and these behaviors greatly challenge the traditional victim roles that are often associated with women in these types of films. The cinematography in this film is also able to display the subversion of gender roles and norms that are seen in 2023 Scream 6. In this following shot, we can see how Hayden Panettiere's character, Kirby Reed, remains focused in the center of the frame, which helps show the breaking of gender norms in which she plays the role of the authorial figure in this film, while there had been a male character that played this role in Scream from 1996. The framing in certain parts of 2023 Scream 6 is able to emphasize empowerment rather than victimization, which portrays female characters and tropes as being active participants in this film rather than being tied down to the traditional role of victims. To conclude, it is very evident that Scream 6 from 2023 is able to show an evolution of different aspects from feminist film theory, such as the representation of women as well as the subversion of traditional gender roles, while being able to stay connected to historical and political contexts. Film techniques such as cinematography as well as character tropes are able to effectively display how much feminist film theory has evolved between Wes Craven's Scream from 1996 and Matt Bettinelli Open and Tyler Gillett's Scream 6 from 2023.